Welcome back to you, our viewers. We are here at the Tobago Updates studio for the Tobago Updates morning show, and we have on set with us Mr. Ricardo Phillip, the political leader of the Class Action Reform Movement. Good morning, Mr. Phillip.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, Tobago, Trinidad, and thank you for the opportunity for me to be here this morning.
All
I
right,
always appreciate it.
so Mr. Phillip, let's get right into it and let's talk about your candidacy for Tobago West. What can the voting population, the electorate, expect from Mr. Phillip for general elections 2025 for Tobago West?
Well, my campaign hasn't changed in the last couple of years. I've been consistent, preaching the same gospel. The question really is not what I'm going to do for you, but what you would have me do for you, as it's designed that way, the representation of the people. We have a culture and a history of, let me just say this, and I've said this on the ground and I'm saying this again. Nobody, no political party is going to save us. No new political philosophy is going to save us. No new political ideology is going to save us. My campaign and my party has always been and always stood for, we have to save ourselves as a nation. So my campaign has continued in that vein, that we have to save ourselves. We are accustomed with politicians coming on the ground and making all kinds of ungodly promises. And if we look back at our political history, we realize that has not worked. And I can't understand why, when we all know it has not worked, and we're still doing the same thing and expecting a different result, ultimately.
Well, Mr. Phillip, we have some burning issues. The Tobago electorate has some burning issues that they want addressed. And I just want to get an idea of what your position is, or your positions are on those issues, such as constitutional reform, the THA bill coming forward, as well as a greater share in the national resources of the petrochemical resources that are within Tobago's waters. What are your positions on those sorts of issues?
And that's a very good question. When you are elected as a member of parliament and you get to the parliament, you don't go to the parliament to represent Tobago East or Tobago West, as the case may be. You go to the parliament to represent the nation of Trinidad and Tobago. The parliament responsibility and having the government come out of parliament is responsible for ensuring that all the different arms of the government, local government bodies, including the Tobago House of Assembly, is adequately funded and accountable to the people. So all those issues, and my campaign has always talked about constitutional reform, because as you say, we have a lot of national burning issues that we have to address. But when you have the parliamentary politics, or the parliaments and the government is competing with local arms of government, you have challenges. Tobago House of Assembly should be one responsible for the day-to-day operation and day-to-day management of Tobago. And the larger issues, constitutional reform, as again dealing with the energy sector and so on, are the responsibility of the parliamentary representative. Like Trinidad, Tobago has to be included in all those discussions. All those issues has to be included. So I agree, I concur that Tobago we have to assert ourselves in this whole national debate on whatever the national issue may be. Tobago have to assert itself in that scenario. So when you have a representative from Tobago East and West going to Trinidad, it's not to necessarily just represent Tobago East or West, but to represent Tobago as part of the nation, and to ensure that Tobago is adequately funded, that's the THA, and other local arms of the government, to carry out its function effectively and be accountable to the people. So that's my sum total of what a member of parliament represents for the people of Tobago. We continue to have the argument that if you send two people from the same party and you're not going to go there and fight for Tobago, there's no such thing. The Constitution does not allow for us to come and just fight for Tobago. When you go to Trinidad as a representative, you have to deal with issues that pertains to Trinidad as well. And therefore, you have to ensure that Tobago is equitably represented in the whole national debate and discussion and anything that is being offered available in the country.
Well, I guess that would have been your response, a similar response to the question I was bringing up next, that persons may see you as an independent candidate and they may see that voting for you may not bring the most benefit, might not be the most strategic decision, as you might be a lone soldier in the parliament fighting for Tobago or whatever Tobago needs. But I guess you would have responded in a similar way to a position like that.
Well, just to add that, I mean, it takes one man to start it, but it takes a whole nation to carry it. And let me start it. I have no problem with starting it. And the issue here is that you're not supporting me. I have never come to the forefront and say, well, support me or vote for me or follow me. What I'm actually doing is trying to change mindset And changing mindset is not an overnight thing. That doesn't happen in one election, two elections. And that's why I'm consistent, because I understand the challenge that we face. We have been indoctrinated with dependency and hopelessness for decades. And I don't expect one or two elections would change that as far as I'm concerned. So there was never a call to support me in any election campaign, vote for me. But let us build this nation in the right way. Let us transform this country. I can't do it alone. I can start it, but I alone can't do it. Let us transform this country, and it takes all of us to do that. So if one wants to continue to vote for something that has not worked in the past, something that will never work now, then the choice is yours. But for me to say, all that I can say on this matter is that you're not supporting me. Let's all support ourselves, because as I said before, no political party is coming to save us. No new political philosophy or ideology is going to save us, but we have to save ourselves. And that's what I represent. I represent the notion that we are the only ones to save ourselves. God has given us all the tools that are necessary to work out our own salvation, and we need to take that seriously.
So then you can make the argument now that your primary goal is not necessarily to seek office, but to bring about a mindset change to the populace?
Well, it's twofold. I mean, you get into election campaign, and the objective is you want to win your position. But I also believe strongly that you have to fix it from the outside. And one of the reasons why we struggle with the same thing over and over is because when you promise the people you're going to do good on their behalf, and you get into the party politics, you have to toe the line. And therefore, your individual desires. I've seen good people get destroyed by that kind of rationale, that you get into politics thinking that when you get in there, you're going to do good for the people, and then you have to follow that culture. You can't go against that culture. And that's why I've chosen to walk this path. It's a lonely path, it's a difficult path, but it's the right path. Because if you don't do that, then what we'll be doing, and as we do election after election, is just replacing one oppressor for the next. That's really what we're doing here. It's just a perpetuation of the same thing. The same political philosophy and ideology that all the other parties are subscribed to come originally from the PNM and the UNC type of politics. And if you repeat that, I don't care what you call yourself, a new party, you call yourself PPO, PPA, it's going to be the same thing. So we have to change that. How do we solve the problem? We as a people have to start communicating with each other. Public referendums on all the important issues. The same constitutional reform. We have to, and not the government, or not the political party hosting that. Those are civil society responsibility. I've said this before. These are the areas that we need to go. Let's start having this discussion. The Tobago autonomy bill. You have to get the people involved with those type of discussion. They are the ones to carry the narrative. How do you represent the people when you have no idea what the people want?
Right.
That's the struggle we face.
So just to shift a little bit, in your observation of the day-to-day lives of the persons within the Tobago West constituency, what do you think are the most burning issues within the constituency that the people really want addressed?
People looking for leadership. And that is something that we have failed as a country, and not just in Trinidad but in Tobago. We had no leadership in the past, and everybody just surviving. Opportunities. My position is this: as government officials and politicians and what have you, your duty is to create the opportunities. I think Tobago is well ready. The people of Tobago is more than ready, whether it's in the east or the west, or what have you, is ready for opportunities. And the emphasis has to be developing Tobago in terms of economics and creating the opportunities. Government responds just to manage those areas, create the opportunities, and the people will shoot off on their own. You don't need to give up, a man a fish. You're going to teach him how to fish, as they were saying. If we do that, whether it's through the THA or the parliament, you will see the difference in Tobago. So the people in Tobago West have the same needs as people throughout Trinidad, I imagine. Employment issues, road issues, opportunities and so on. So that is what we need to fix. We need to create the opportunities and allow the people and the ambition to take control of that.
Okay, and you spoke about creating opportunities. Can you tell us some of the opportunities that you think that will be best suited for the residents of Tobago West, the constituents of Tobago West? Well,
Tobago in the whole, you see, it's difficult to and sort of selfish to divide Tobago in terms of east and west. And I think we have to put that in perspective, because from a election and a parliamentary perspective or point of view, you have Tobago east and west. But when you're talking about Tobago, you have to deal with Tobago as a whole, because as I said, if I'm elected, I can't go and just speak about Tobago West issues. If you're creating employment opportunity, you have to create an employment opportunity for Tobago in its entirety. So I'm saying here that, again, what the young people are concerned with: opportunities, job opportunities, career opportunities. People want to own homes. People want to be able to build a family and do business and pursue their ambition. Should be able to match the ambition of the young people. We have not done that. And so those are the issues that I would address. Those are important issues. If you want a shirt and a pants, that shouldn't be my problem. My problem is to give you the opportunity that you can pursue those things on your own. If you want to build a house, that should not be my problem. I'm supposed to give you the economic opportunity that you can pursue those things on your own. And that's how we build a nation, not by handout and help out. And that's the politics on the ground. They're on the ground right now promising people, making all kind of ungodly promises to people, only to realize after election they cannot fulfill. They know that they can't fulfill these promises.
So, Mr. Phillip, I don't want to ask you to create any promises, but I want to nail you down on some of your more specific positions on some of the burning issues. I want to revisit what we were talking before.
Sure.
THA reform, constitutional reform, and increased autonomy for the Tobago House of Assembly, and the burning issue of Tobagonians wanting a greater share in the oil and gas revenues that are considered in Tobago's waters. What are your specific perspectives and your policy positions on those sort of issues?
Right. So let me just say, I think Tobago has not been equitably benefited from the relationship with Trinidad and Tobago. Having said that, you have to understand how the thing works. There is no such thing as Tobago oil and gas. There is no such thing. People talk these things politically and mislead people. It's a setup. The reality is that the resources of Trinidad and Tobago or the resources of Tobago belong to the people of Trinidad and Tobago and vice versa. That's the reality. Let's deal with the reality. If you want to talk about Tobago oil and gas in the future, then we can have that discussion based under some other umbrella. But for now, you cannot talk about more share in the oil and gas and so on. It doesn't work like that. When the resources is pooled together, that's the reality, and that's what we have to work with. When the resources pool together, and they say we're giving the Tobago House of Assembly $4 billion, or you want to negotiate for more, or let's negotiate for more, as the case may be. That is what you have to work with. The other option for economic development in Tobago is that when you get this money from the central government, because I don't think that reliance on that money there is adequate to help develop Tobago. You have to now help develop your private sector. That's what you're going to emphasize. So when you talk, we cannot have the discussion. As much as it sounds as something that's significant and important and intelligent, we cannot have the discussion about Tobago oil and gas because there's no such thing. It doesn't exist. And let's deal with that. The truth is, when you are sincere and honest with the people, you liberate them from the kind of slave thinking that for some reason, Tobago could go to Trinidad and say, here, we want more money from the oil and the gas. Well, we want more revenue, yes, for Tobago. And that's what we have, the channel we have to go to ensure that we get that. Not from oil and gas. The autonomy, the constitutional arrangement for Tobago does not allow for us to debate or to have a discussion based on whether the new act or the past act to debate autonomy for Tobago. There's no plenipotentiary powers that Tobago has at this point in time. Tobago is under a constitution that is governed by Trinidad and Tobago. So it's a local arm of government. That's what the Tobago House of Assembly in this current state. I don't care what you do, how they improve it and how they give you more authority and so on. It's not an autonomy discussion. It's not an autonomy bill.
So what is the discussion really about?
The discussion really is about more power. It's a power struggle between, Trinidad and Tobago. It's a power struggle and the people have gotten caught up in that. As a matter of fact, in some instances, people don't even understand what's taking place with that.
But some people argue that more power equals more autonomy.
No, more power doesn't necessarily. More power could also interpret as more abuse. We have to deal with those issues. More power could also be interpreted as more abuse. If you want to talk about more power for Tobago, then you have to talk about more protection and guarantees for the people. Powers come with protection and guarantee, constitutional protection and guarantee when you talk about more power. So don't come and tell me, give me more power because I'm a patriotic Tobagonian and I want to do better for Tobago. Then you don't have no checks and balances in place.
All right, Mr. Phillip, we want to thank you very much for coming on with us and sharing your political views, and we wish you all the best in your campaign.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right, then.
Nice.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a brief break and we will come right back and we'll have one executive member of DXL Entertainment, Quincy Trim, and he's going to be talking about Rumbum. But before we go for the break, do us a favor, share the live, share the live, share the live. We will be right back after these brief messages.